Today we're going to talk about analyzing financial situations. So we're going to start with different forms of payment. What are different ways in which you can pay for goods and services? So the one that you guys are most familiar with is cash. So I see you guys with cash using that to buy, snacks in the Bulldog Bookstore, or candy bars from your friends that are having a fundraiser, or walking over to Dairy Queen to get stuff after school. So checks, you may have seen someone write checks out, and we'll visit more about those later. Money orders, and these are similar to a check. It's a piece of paper that you go through some type of company or bank and fill out this form in order to send money. This is a safe and secure way to send money to someone in the different locations, such as Western Union. Store value cards, which are gift cards and prepaid cards. Debit cards, and we've talked about debit cards, credit cards, and money transfers. So money transfers, we're not going to talk too much about, but basically it's just an electronic method of transferring money from one account to another. So what are the similarities and differences between credit cards, debit cards, and store value cards? Well, they are all small plastic cards. They have the magnetic strips on the back, and now we know our debit cards and credit cards also have the microchip. Both can be, or all of them can be used to purchase goods online. Card owners for each can monitor transactions online. Differences. Okay, well, credit card owners, remember we talked about a credit card being basically a loan. You're borrowing money from a financial company. You have to pay it back. A debit card is using your money. You never have to pay that back. That's just yours. There's a fixed amount on a store value card, like a gift card. So say you bought a gift card for someone for their birthday and you got a $20 gift card. There's only $20 on it, so that's what they have to spend. Now they can choose to reload it and put more money on it later, but it's a fixed amount. Once you spend it, it's gone. With a credit card, the account owner may have to pay interest, whereas a debit card and your gift cards, you don't have any interest. Debit cards and store value cards immediately purchase the item, it immediately spends that money and it's gone. Credit cards, you are spending it on the card, but you have to pay it back later. So some credit cards offer incentives, whereas debit cards do not offer incentives. Actually, some debit cards do offer certain types of incentives if you spend your money at certain locations. And then some store value cards have incentives and some do not. So here are some advantages and disadvantages of credit cards. So advantages, you receive a statement every month that has a very itemized list of every single purchase, where you purchased it, how much it was for. It's a really good way to basically just keep track of your spending habits and to check for fraudulent charges. Credit card holders who pay on time maintain or improve their credit history. As you get older and out there in the financial world, you're going to realize that your credit score and your credit history affects a lot of the decisions that you want to make. With a credit card, the cardholder can purchase goods and services even when the cardholder does not have the cash, so that's an advantage. Some credit cards offer rewards, and there are multiple ways a credit card account number can be stolen. Therefore, credit card companies offer fraud protection for unauthorized charges. So having your card information stolen is not good, but the fact that you are protected against those charges is good. And then you can read through some of these disadvantages, anything associated with a fee, anything causing you to be in debt, and basically anything that negatively affects you. Over here is our disadvantages. Debit card. So consumers who have debit cards don't have to carry a checkbook or cash, so that's an advantage for having to carry less items, but we'll talk more about checkbooks. If an account owner does not have the money to cover the transaction, the bank may choose to deny the transaction. Now, this could be a disadvantage because you're being denied from purchasing something, but it could also be an advantage because it's not allowing you to spend more money than you have. So I'm going to kind of put that in the middle. This is a disadvantage, anything that makes it more difficult for you to return an item or exchange it, so that would be a disadvantage. Fees associated with spending more than you have. So I talked about here it not allowing you to spend more than you have. Some banks have what is called overdraft, and you can personally choose whether or not you want a bank to allow you to spend more than what's in your account for a certain fee. To make a purchase with a debit card, you have to swipe it or enter your PIN number. You may also sign, so that's an advantage because it's a form of security. You can monitor your stuff online. That's good. You can check for fraudulent charges. Now, here's a disadvantage. With a debit card, you are held liable for a certain amount of fraudulent charges, unlike with your credit card. So that's something to think about when you're making purchases such as gas, where your card information is very vulnerable. You know, some situations it's safer to use a credit card because of that situation. All right, and you read through these, you can pause it if you want, but these are just a couple tips that are really good for credit cards. All right, so we're going to identify the type of payment method used. So Stan buys a television and pays for it for over the next 3 months. Well, this is not a store value card or a debit card because it wasn't immediately paid off. A credit card will have to be paid back over time. Ingrid buys a cup of coffee and the money is immediately withdrawn from her account. So this is going to be a debit card because it's immediately withdrawn from her account because it was immediately paid for. Means store value card or debit, but the fact that it was linked to her bank account means debit card. So Yun uses a $20 bus pass to ride the bus. That's going to be a store value card. And remember, store value card is a gift card or any type of prepaid card. So now we're going to talk about financial responsibility versus irresponsibility. So there are benefits to being financially responsible, such as staying out of debt, and disadvantages to being irresponsible, such as not being able to afford certain things that you want. So we're going to read each situation and decide whether they are financially responsible or irresponsible. So you have Katerina has $100 in cash to spend on a $55 ink cartridge. So she knows that she has $100, but she knows she's about to go spend most of it on an ink cartridge. Well, when she gets there, she sees that there's a sale. There's one for $55 or two for $70. So she bought two for $70. So this situation, she was financially responsible. Excuse my random mark. So she was financially responsible because she saved $40 on the second ink cartridge and she spent cash so she doesn't owe any money on her purchase or will not be charged any interest. Okay, then we have Melissa. Melissa's renting an apartment for $850 a month. In August, she had $2,100 in her checking account, but she decided to pay rent on her credit card and then spent $1,800 from her savings on a second flat screen TV. So Melissa made a financially irresponsible decision because she had the money in her account, yet she chose to use her credit card. So now she's probably going to owe interest when paying back that credit card. Another reason why this was irresponsible is because who needs a second flat screen TV? It's not a necessity. So that really affects your responsible versus irresponsible decision is want versus need. All right, then we have Tom. He has $524 in savings. He needs new tires for his car, so it's a need. So he bought new racing tires for $1,400 with his credit card. Well, Tom was irresponsible because he didn't have enough money, so he used his credit card, so now he's going to owe interest. Also, he doesn't need racing tires. So it said he needed tires, but not that he needed these very expensive racing tires. So what could Tom have done differently? Well, he could have picked more reasonably priced tires. So again, even though he needed tires, it was a necessity, he didn't have to go for the top of the line racing tires. So on your assignment, you're going to have to talk about what type of payment was used, so what method of payment, and which decisions are responsible versus irresponsible. And if you do have irresponsible decisions, you're going to be asked how could this person change their decision to make it more responsible. All right, at this time, you're going to get on Schoology and complete the assignment.